Angel Reese just made a stunning admission on live television that may change the way fans and critics view her forever. In what looked like an innocent post-game interview, Reese let her guard down and told the world something that contradicts everything she's said for the last year and a half. "I've never had a negative encounter in person, ever." Those were her exact words. She didn't stutter, she didn't hesitate, and she clearly didn't realize what she was about to expose. Because within seconds of those words leaving her mouth, the internet lit up. Did she just admit that all those stories of racist harassment and personal attacks were exaggerated or even made up? That one sentence sparked a firestorm across the WNBA and social media as fans scrambled to understand how one of the league's most vocal players could so casually contradict herself on such a massive scale. But this wasn't just a slip of the tongue. This was a full-blown implosion of her public narrative. Over the past year, Angel Reese has become more than a rising star in women's basketball. She's become a cultural flashpoint. At every turn, she's framed her story around being misunderstood, targeted, and even attacked. She's spoken about dealing with racism, with hate, with being singled out for who she is and how she plays. There was the now infamous claim that an Indiana Fever fan had hurled racist slurs at her while she shot free throws. There was the emotional moment when she said a man blocked her and her teammates from entering a team hotel, allegedly yelling a slur and calling her a ghetto. Something we can't even say here? And there were constant references to the scrutiny, the criticism, the hate she says she deals with every single day just for being Angel Reese. It was the backbone of her public persona, the brave young star fighting through constant adversity. But now, all of that has been thrown into question. Because here's the thing, the WNBA investigated these accusations. They didn't ignore them. They took them seriously. When Reese said she was verbally harassed by fans, the league spent 10 days digging into it. And you know what they found? Nothing. No racial slurs, no malicious encounters, no confirmation of the incidents she described. In fact, when footage surfaced of the hotel incident, it showed a man calmly asking if Reese and her teammates had any regrets about a hard foul on Caitlin Clark. That's it. No yelling, no aggression, no slurs, just a question. Even more damning, the league never sanctioned anyone. No fans were banned, no action was taken, because there was no evidence of wrongdoing. So if the investigations found nothing, and now Reese herself says she's never had a single negative encounter in person, what exactly was everyone outraged about? And this is where the contradiction explodes into something bigger than just a confusing quote. Reese didn't just say she ignores online hate. She explicitly said she's never had a negative personal encounter, ever. That completely wipes out the foundation of her previous claims. And fans noticed, fast. Within minutes of the interview, clip going viral, people began digging up her past statements. On social media, fans were calling it the Jussie Smollett moment of the WNBA. Others referred to her as Jessie Ree or the female Bubba Wallace, comparing her to public figures who made unverified or later disproven claims that ignited national debates. The backlash wasn't just harsh, it was relentless. Comment after comment piled in from WNBA fans, casual viewers, and even sports journalists. This wasn't just criticism, it was a credibility collapse. And what made it worse? No one in the media asked her to clarify. Not a single reporter followed up and said, "Wait, didn't you say last month you were racially targeted by a Fever fan?" No one pressed her on the contradiction. And that silence spoke volumes. It exposed a growing problem within WNBA media, a fear of challenging narratives even when they don't add up. Because if this was the NBA, you better believe someone would have asked the question. If LeBron James made contradictory statements about public encounters, the media would run it for weeks. If Kevin Durant said one thing and then blatantly reversed himself, it would dominate headlines. But here, total silence. No pushback, no accountability, and this ties directly into a bigger issue that WNBA fans are finally starting to talk about, this protective bubble around certain players. Some fans feel like Angel Reese is being treated more like a celebrity than a professional athlete. She's the 3-time BET Sportswoman of the Year. She's done more press conferences, award shows, and branding events than playoff games. She's always front and center in league marketing campaigns, interviews, and pop culture segments. But when it comes to being held accountable for what she says or does, the rules seem different. It's as if criticism isn't allowed. And yet, look around the rest of the sports world. Criticism is constant. It's part of the game. NFL coaches are blasted daily. NBA stars are ridiculed on national TV. MLB players are booed relentlessly. But in the WNBA, it seems like any level of scrutiny is off limits, especially if the player is as marketable as Angel Reese. And here's the most ironic part. This controversy exploded after one of the best games of her career. Against a strong opponent, she dropped 17 points, shot 8 of 13 from the field, and pulled down 11 rebounds. Statistically, it was one of her most efficient outings all season. And yet none of that mattered, because all anyone was talking about was the interview, the quote, the contradiction. It was the perfect storm. Reese finally silencing critics on the court, but igniting a firestorm off the court with one poorly chosen statement. And that raises the next big question. Has Angel Reese done irreparable damage to her public image? Because it's one thing to make an accusation that can't be proven. It's another to walk back those accusations in a way that suggests they were never true in the first place. That crosses a line. It puts her in dangerous territory, not just with fans, but with brands, sponsors, and even teammates who may now question the stories that have defined her rise. Because perception matters, credibility matters, and if fans feel like they've been misled, that feeling doesn't go away easily. Social media never forgets, and every time she steps in front of a mic now, people are going to remember this moment. So what happens next? Will the WNBA address the contradiction? Will the media ask the questions fans are already shouting about online? Will Reese clarify her comments, or just hope the controversy blows over? If history is any indicator, don't expect much. The league has already shown a hesitancy to hold its stars accountable. In a year where controversy after controversy has rocked women's basketball, from officiating scandals to physical altercations to social media feuds, the last thing the league wants is another headline questioning one of its most marketable figures. But the damage is done. The clip exists. The quote is real, and the contradiction is impossible to ignore. If Angel Reese can publicly claim she's never had a negative encounter after months of saying the exact opposite, then what does that say about the rest of the stories we've been told? And what does it mean for a league that's trying to build trust with a new generation of fans? At the end of the day, credibility is everything. And once it's gone, it's very hard to get back. And perhaps the most important question of all, what does this mean for the future of WNBA storytelling? Because Angel Reese isn't just a player, she's a symbol of the league's future, of its hope to cross over into mainstream relevance. She's been marketed as a generational icon, someone who represents more than just basketball. And that's precisely why this moment matters. Because when your public image is built on a narrative of struggle, overcoming adversity, and being misunderstood, every contradiction threatens to unravel that image. It only takes one moment, one clip, one quote to cast doubt. And in the age of viral media, doubt spreads like wildfire. Sponsors aren't just backing an athlete, they're backing a story. And if that story loses credibility, so does the brand. That's why integrity isn't just a moral issue in sports, it's a business one. Companies want stars who can command attention without controversy that questions their honesty. Fans want heroes who are authentic, not characters in a carefully constructed storyline. And the league itself, desperately trying to grow its audience, can't afford to keep dodging accountability while pretending that inconsistencies like this don't exist. Because fans notice, and more importantly, they remember. This moment won't disappear. It'll linger. Every future interview Angel Reese gives, someone will bring it up. Every post-game press conference, that clip will float in the background. It's not just about what she said, it's about what it revealed. A crack in the foundation. A sign that maybe, just maybe, the story we've been sold isn't as airtight as it seemed. And for a league on the brink of mainstream breakthrough, that's a problem they can't afford to ignore much longer. Because once trust is broken, especially on camera, it's nearly impossible to restore.